is we're really looking at two main varieties of coffee, what we call Arabica and Robusta. And I just wondered if Arian could just kind of talk about those briefly.
Okay. So both are really important. The Robusta is one of the parents of the Arabica. And the big difference in general is that the Arabica has always been top dog, for lack of a better explanation. It had a lot more interesting flavor directions. It was the coffee that was looked at as having interesting profiles in the cup, whereas the Robusta tended to be pretty consistent with not as much interesting flavors. We'll go back to the Robusta. The Robusta grows at much lower altitudes. It's a much hardier tree. It's not as susceptible to the different climates. It's not as heat sensitive, it's not as water sensitive, and it's not as insect sensitive. So also that means it's also not as susceptible to disease as well. So therefore it's a very intriguing tree because it's just a stronger plant. And there are different levels of Robusta. So then what you have is you have the Arabicas, and the Arabicas grow at a much higher altitude. And they're much more sensitive to the weather. They want cooler weather at night. Well, it also has to do with the types of flavors you get out of it. So the cooler weather at night, the warmer weather during the day. And from everything that I've been able to tell, it kind of reminds me of what we used to think of what the weather was like here in the Bay Area, just at higher altitudes. In certain areas where maybe the altitude isn't quite as high, what they'll do is they have like canopy trees that are kind of planted in the area so that the sunlight is they get some direct sunlight, but then there's some cooling. And so there's a lot of interesting things that the plantations do for different regions.
This is the coffee that I'm drinking right now. Cafe.
That's fine, Chris. That's the same stuff we drink.
Okay. This is, have you had this, Harry?
I have not, no.
Okay, you got to come over and have this. This is actually incredible.
Okay.
This is 10 ounces. It's at Safeway. This is $3.
Yeah.
$3.99 usually, isn't it?
Yeah, they have it on sale. I usually buy it on sale.
Okay.
It's obviously completely vacuum packed, and it's a good vacuum seal.
What coffee beans are in there?
That's one of the things I want to get to. It does not say Arabica anywhere on this package, so you have to assume it's mostly Robusta, right?
Yeah, probably.
That would be the assumption, because that's obviously the cheaper bean. When you pointed out to me several months ago that my predilection for the Italian style coffee, which I had in Italian cafes, probably was because it was Robusta, I actually actively sought out coffee beans that did not say Arabica, and I think you were right. That's the coffee I like. That's and again, maybe it's because I'm drinking straight espressos that that's that kind of taste. That it's definitely not sour. It's not burned, but it's clearly very charred, I would say. It's a very dark, rich, but it's also a very simple taste. It's not a complex taste. It's a very simple taste.